This episode is sponsored by Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races in West Virginia. June's featured entertainment includes Ace Frehley on the 15th and Elle King on the 21st. Details and tickets at HollywoodCasinoCharlestown.com. Must be 21 to enter the casino floor and attend a show. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Welcome to the newest episode of Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. I'm your host, Jason Fraley, picking the brains of the top filmmakers, musicians, and artists of our time. Two-time Tony winner Christian Borle puts on a happy face in Bye Bye Birdie at the Kennedy Center today through June 15th. And this is no touring production, this is only happening here in Washington, D.C. He joined me to preview the show and discuss stepping into Dick Van Dyke's iconic shoes, as well as sharing memories of his best Broadway roles from Something Rotten to Some Like It Hot.
This is Christian Borle talking to you, and I'm playing Albert J. Peterson in Bye Bye Birdie at the historic Kennedy Center.
Yes, a historic show at the historic place. What's not to love? It's running June 7th through the 15th. So, only about like a week. So you don't want to miss it. You got to get your tickets ahead of time. So I obviously, I saw this movie, the movie version, and loved it. In, I don't know, like a middle school theater arts class process, I think. Yeah. But I'm sure everyone did. But in case people missed it, remind us the basic premise of who Conrad Birdie is, the whole night.
Well, basically, what the musical is about, it captured a moment in musical theater history where rock and roll was starting to be introduced into the genre. And so they posited what would happen if you told the story of Elvis going into the army, and how that would make the entire teenage generation panic, and how that would make his manager, played by me, panic even more. So Conrad Birdie is our fictional Elvis, played by Ephraim Sykes, who's so marvelous in the show. And it's got a great combination of really, really good, like, rock and roll songs and then classic musical theater songs, which is where I come in.
Absolutely. Yeah, so Conrad Birdie's kind of the proxy for Elvis figure, and I think I read the name was like a take on Conway Twitty, Conrad Birdie, but yeah.
Conway Twitty and Elvis Presley are about as far away on the spectrum as I can connect me, but I'll take it. I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, well, I don't know actually if that's true or not, but anyway, yes, it's more of an Elvis figure, and then remind us, you mentioned a little bit, but go a deeper dive into your character and how he fits in. This is the Dick Van Dyke character, right?
That's correct. This is the second Dick Van Dyke character I have stepped into, and I won't be doing it justice, but I will do my best. I played Bert in Mary Poppins as well. And, Dick Van Dyke, those are big shoes to fill. I don't know how big his feet actually are, but so Albert is Conrad Birdie's manager, and he has torn between his duty to Conrad Birdie and the love of his life, Rose Alvarez, played by the amazing Krista Rodriguez, who is hoping to get him away from the music managing business and settle down and just be a humble English teacher.
Yeah.
So they concoct a plan that right before Conrad goes into the army, they pick a random member of his fan club, Kim McAfee, and they're going to go to Sweet Apple, and on live television on the Ed Sullivan Show, he's going to bestow his biggest fan with one last kiss. And in typical musical theater fashion, everything goes wrong until the end,
when it all ties it back together nicely. I love it. All right, cool. So that's you, and yes, Dick Van Dyke. He was in the original Broadway cast and in the movie, of course. Just a legend. And this would have been, let me do my math, 4 years before Mary Poppins, the role you mentioned.
Right.
The movie version. So, but a legend. But I'm sure you will do it justice as Albert. And then Dish on your co-stars. Who is our Rose, which was Cheetah Rivera, on Broadway, and then Janet Leigh. Well, it's funny. It came out on Broadway in 1960. So the year that Janet Leigh was getting slashed up in the shower in Psycho, she would then later play the role in the movie. But anyway, who's your Rose?
That's a fascinating tidbit I didn't realize.
I just looking at the year right now, it just dawned on me. That's hilarious.
That's incredible. Our Rose is played by the amazing Krista Rodriguez, with whom I did a season of that TV show Smash. So we're crossing paths again.
Nice. Oh, you were in the NBC the series Smash.
That's right, and so was she.
That's freaking awesome. See, there you go, folks. All these faces you'll recognize. And then how about Kim McAfee? Susan Watson was on Broadway, and then, of course, Anne Margaret, belting the title song at the top in the movie. But who's our Kim McAfee in this?
We've got a lovely young actress named Ashlyn, and she is just killing it. She's got a voice pure as driven snow.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm spoiling anything. The song Bye Bye Birdie that was in the movie was not originally in the show. It was written for the movie, but it may or may not be making an appearance during the bows in our show. It's so darn catchy.
It really is. All right, well, there you go. There's your post-credits teaser. The
Equal question mark?
Yeah, the Marvel Cinematic Universe of Bye Bye Birdie. No. Stay tuned for the next installment. All right, well, cool. Well, that's the perfect segue into the musical numbers. So yes, you're teasing that the film only version of that song will maybe make an appearance here. How about the other big ones? Put on a Happy Face and all that good stuff. We Love You, Conrad.
I mean, there's songs that everybody recognizes. There's We Love You, Conrad, which is an earworm, which you'll be singing leaving the theater and for the next 2 weeks. So apologies in advance. There's the fabulous Put on a Happy Face, of course. And all of Conrad's songs, Sincere and One Last Kiss, are so fabulous. A Lot of Livin' is in there, catchy as can be. But my personal favorite, and this one was kind of a discovery for me, because to be honest with you, I didn't really know the show that well before we started rehearsing. But the big discovery for me is a song in the second act called Baby Talk to Me, which just sounds like a standard that has existed forever. It's one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard, and there's a little barbershop quartet that backs me up in it. I hope to do it justice, but it's a gorgeous song. The whole score is spectacular.
Yeah, and remind us who wrote it. Charles Strauss on the music and Lee Adams on the lyrics. Like it's like iconic Broadway show tune stuff. Like it does really much better. And yes, We Love You, Conrad. / We Hate You, Conrad will be echoing in everyone's ears on their way home. Oh yes, we do. All right, cool. And then I guess visually, I mean, we hit the music, but remind us the other really fun part of this is it's sort of that early '60s period piece kind of a deal. So remind us sort of costumes or sets and wardrobe kind of stuff, like how it really sets the time and the place.
Well, we definitely are playing it in the proper period. This isn't like a modern, updated version where we're all going to be in 80s clothes with shoulder pads. We're not going to have Daft Punk-style space helmets. It is rooted firmly in the early 60s, and so it's all that fabulous mid-century modern style and great clothes from that era. And the set is going to look spectacular. What they're able to do at the Kennedy Center, we throw these things up in like 10 days. And so we've all been working very, very hard on it. And, they plan this design within an inch of its life, and they're going to be these incredible projections. And I think it's going to be visually right.
Fantastic. Well, I mean, I have plenty to work with in terms of the actual show itself. But before you run, I mean, remind everyone you're an accomplished actor yourself. I think you got a pair of Tonys on your mantle. Remind us the first one you won for was Peter and the Starcatcher. Just memories of that whirlwind experience. Them calls,
right? It was incredible.
On stage, all that. That's nuts.
I was lucky enough to be. What you dream of as an actor is to do a show that you think is actually great and that is very fun to do. And that's what Peter and the Starcatcher was. We worked on it for several years, and we all thought it was really special. And we never even really thought it would go to Broadway. And then there we were on Broadway, and then we were nominated for a bunch of Tonys. We won 5, and I was very lucky to be one of them. And yeah, it's that crazy experience. I was sitting there with my mother and my sister and one of my best friends, Joe, and they called my name, and Andrew Garfield gave me a hug, and then I gave a very short speech, I hope. And then, you get whisked away to kind of talk to the press, who they're all waiting to talk to the movie stars, so it goes very quickly. It's that's the best part, is they don't really want to talk to the theater people. I'm half kidding. And then I went back and sat next to my mother and watched the rest of the show. It was truly a dream come true.
It's fantastic. And then, of course, you won again for Something Rotten, playing old Bill Shakespeare in the original cast. That's an incredible legacy to have, because I mean, that show is, you know, toured through National Theater, and you know, it's hilarious. It's one of my favorites I've ever seen. It was so freaking funny. But you originated the role of Shakespeare, so memories of you know, putting that up for the very first time. Like there was no precedent there.
No, it was a very funny original take on Shakespeare being an absolute total fraud. And completely and utterly insecure. And it's, you know, the old adage is true. It's just a lot more fun to play the villain because you get to behave badly and get away with it in the end.
I can't remember who was playing it. I think it was I think it was Adam Pascal from Rent that was playing it.
Oh,
yeah. That's, I mean, come on. And now he has big shoes to fill from you in that.
Well, he is musical theater royalty, so.
Well, you are too at this point. Like, I don't, you know, I feel like when people do interviews, a lot of times they just mention, you know, oh, you won a Tony for this, you won for that. But there's been a million roles in between, you know, that you know, that you were also, like, you originated the cast of so many great shows. Weren't you in the original Spamalot too?
I was. Yes, I was. That was also one of the most thrilling moments in any young actor's career, to be on stage and kind of playing comedy tennis with the likes of Tim Curry, David Hyde Pierce, and Hank Azaria, and of course Mike Nichols. Getting to be in his orbit was it really did change my life, and it changed the way I thought about comedy. It was a very fortunate time in my life.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, we'd be here all day if I listed all of them, but you were in the OBC, the original Broadway cast of Legally Blonde, the musical. But I guess time for one more. Let's do one of the more recent ones, which was Some Like It Hot, which was one of my all-time favorite movies. But what was it like having the honor to try to bring that to the stage, and you know, and I guess you got nominated for that too?
I did get nominated for that, and my cohort Jay Harrison G won in our category, which I'm very glad they did. It was really exciting to adapt. You know, it was the AFI #1 comedy of all time.
Yeah,
and again, big shoes to fill. But Casey Nicolon, the whole team, the director, figured out a way to tell that story in modern day without making it too heavy-handed. And I was very proud of the light touch that it had. And I was very proud of, after 5 years of rehearsing for that tap dance at the beginning of the show, I'm glad I was able to pull that off. I mean, that's the one thing that was good about the pandemic, is it gave me 2 more years to practice my tap dancing before going to Broadway.
That's great. And you were the Tony Curtis.
That's correct. That's right. The Joe.
You were the Joe.
So when it comes touring through, run, don't walk to see Some Like It Hot.
Yes, Billy Wilder. I mean, come on, unbelievable. Like I people mention the great directors of all time. You know, they mention the Hitchcocks, and you know, nowadays Spielberg or Christopher Nolan or whatever. But man, Billy Wilder, no one did it better. No, absolutely right. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Anything else you want to add before we hop over here? I mean, I have a ton to work with.
No, listen, I don't need to hear the sound of my own voice. It's just been a pleasure. Thank you.
Well, you are. I'm seriously. We need to build. If our listeners come out, this is your chance to see some real Broadway royalty. Christian Borle, you've really done it all in your career, and you're just getting started, baby.
How kind you are. Sure.
All right, cool. Everybody, it is Bye Bye Birdie, June 7th through 15th at the Kennedy Center. Get your tickets. Thanks for doing this.
Great to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for listening to Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. Our theme music is Scott Buckley's Clarion. Remember to give us a 5-star rating if you like what you hear. We'll see you next time.